Welcome. I'm executive coach and leadership psychology expert Phyllis Reagin. I'm a former studio exec turned high impact coach. I coach creatives, executives, and athletes who are trying to improve their confidence and their influence so they can have the impact that they desire. On Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, I go live and talk about mindset, leadership, well-being strategies that are going to make you an effective leader and also effective in your life overall. Today, I'm going to be talking about imposter syndrome. So that might be why you're here, because you are experiencing imposter syndrome. Just know that most human beings experience imposter syndrome. I became really curious about it early on in my education when I was working on my doctorate. I conducted research around imposter syndrome and the neuroscience behind it. And really what the findings showed was that imposter syndrome is this human experience, and it's most likely happening in your brain. So that's the commonality you have with other people. Imposter syndrome is believed to show up with people. About 85% of people are going to experience it at some point along their life, along their journey. My clients, they are high achievers. They seem particularly susceptible to imposter syndrome. I have a belief and some research, quite a bit, that demonstrates why that happens to high potentials, to high achievers. And really in the brain, and I'm going to be discussing this in an upcoming book I'm writing about the neuroscience of imposter syndrome. What's happening in the brain is the identity that you have about who you are as a leader, as who you are as a professional, a creative, an athlete, is not who you are right now. It's a past narrative, so it's a belief system, and it's a narrative, and it's how you have now created your identity. It's from the past. And there's a gap between what you were in the past and who you are now that needs attention. That gulf, that gap needs to be closed. You need to create a true new identity. So that requires coaching often and a lot of focused work to make this happen for you. It's not just willing it, and it's not just saying, motivational thoughts, although those can be helpful. That's a part of it. Reframing your thinking is definitely going to be the powerful tool for you that I'm going to be talking about. But let's talk about really, first of all, how it's showing up for you. And then we're going to talk about what's going to be important for you in order to get past your imposter syndrome or to lessen it. Often people think about imposter syndrome from one lens. And it's interesting, my clients will come in and they know they're dealing with something that's blocking them, that's making them feel smaller, dimmer, not really showing up for themselves the way they want to, maybe not advocating for themselves for their career, or when they're pitching something, they're not really, describing who they are with confidence and conviction and clarity the way that they want to. So they know something's in the way. They think of imposter syndrome one way, so they don't believe that that's what they are experiencing. Also, I notice my male clients don't think about imposter syndrome for whatever reason. They may just think that they're having a confidence challenge, a confidence blip in this one situation, right? So it's important to understand what is imposter syndrome and how does it show up. So typically people think of imposter syndrome as when you feel like you're faking it. Like you're in the room with the others that are experienced and achievers, and you just don't feel like that's you, and you're faking it, and someone's going to find out, or they're all going to find out, and you're not really who others may believe you to be, so you feel less confident, you don't show up the way that you want to. So it's this kind of faking it that people associate with imposter syndrome. So that's one lens to think about imposter syndrome. I see it in different ways that it shows up with my clients. So with my clients, it can show up with them being underconfident with their decision making. When we start to peel that back and they say, oh, I really want to work on, making stronger, faster decisions, when we pull it back often, yes, there may be some strategies that are needed at the leadership level that's going to be really helpful to them. But let's start first about what's going on with your thinking. What are you thinking about your decisions? And when they look deeply at it, It's imposter syndrome. It's them thinking they're not the one to make the decisions. They can't make good decisions, that others will look at their decisions and think that there's something wrong with them. So there's this disconnection to them, to who they are, their identity, that's not really true, first of all. It's not connecting in a way that's going to be helpful to them. That's imposter syndrome showing up in their decision making. Another way you can experience it is when you're locked in a comparison spiral. I have a YouTube video about that, by the way. I think from a week or two ago, I talked about comparison spiraling and what's going on in the brain and how you can help yourself. Comparison spiraling happens with imposter syndrome. And that's when you're so locked into how others are doing compared to you. But it's not really you comparing you, who you are right now, what you've achieved and accomplished, what you're really strong at and good at and successful at. It's not connected to that. It's connected to some other scenario, some other identity. That might be one from the past. It might be an identity that someone gave you. So it could be, all the way back to identity from your first boss, from your first working experience, from maybe an interaction with a colleague, and now it's stuck somewhere. And that's how you believe you show up. That's your identity now. And you compare others to that. You might experience that when you're in a meeting and you look across and you think, oh my gosh, they have executive presence. I mean, they speak with conviction, they have confidence, others listen to them. That's not me, that's never going to be me. And it makes you feel bad about yourself. So it's this terrible spiral of, I'm not good enough, I look across, they're better from my frame, which makes me feel worse, and on it goes. That's likely imposter syndrome showing up in that comparison spiral. Another a way that it shows up is perfectionism. So with perfectionism, it's just you chasing something, of course, that you can't ever get. You can't ever be that 100% that you want to be. And when you can't get it, you get this real sense of failure. It really starts to creep into how you are thinking about yourself. So if you think by not achieving 100%, you're a failure, you're not successful, you're not who others might want in that role or believe should be in that role or in that position, then it starts this whole thinking of, I'm not good enough, I don't belong, I'm not the right one for this, I can't achieve at this level. They're going to all find out about me and they're not going to believe that I'm the right person, the right fit for this. That's imposter syndrome showing up. Another way that it shows up is staying in your comfort zone. Imposter syndrome has a sneaky way of showing up when you do something new. When you decide you're going to try a different role, maybe you're expanding your role, you're going to work in a different industry, you're going to work for a different type of company, something in the newness. It might be around, I have clients who decide that they're going to do a new project or they're going to write a book, they're going to speak on stages, and imposter syndrome shows up. One of my clients recently, brilliant scientist, she really wants to start developing, creating these videos to help the younger generation to understand what she knows about this area of science. And she was stuck when she got to coaching. She really wanted to focus on that because every time she sat down to record her videos, what she heard in her head was, you're not the one. You're not the expert. No one's going to believe what you have to say. And oh, by the way, you don't look great on screen and your voice sounds terrible. So she had these terrible, really self-limiting thoughts that were showing up, preventing her from showing up the way she wanted to and doing something that was really important to her. What we focused on coaching was what was happening with her thoughts. She was definitely stuck in this spiral of just not feeling comfortable with getting out of her comfort zone, and how it was going to turn around and the imposter syndrome was going to not be there for her so she could overcome it, was to really focus on what she was saying to herself. So we understood clearly after some coaching sessions where those thoughts came from. So when they showed up for her, they were tied to an earlier identity that was not true for her now. So she understood that. She then began to understand what she was good at, truly believe it and understand it. And then we created these reframe thinking. And for her, it was subtle. It was just her noticing, observing, understanding, and believing she is the expert. There's proof of it. Others know that about her. Her work is proof of that. So she could lean into that and say, yes, I am an expert in this area. Am I going to be 100% perfect when I deliver it? No. But as long as I deliver 60% perfect for others, they're going to get something from it. And she really loved the idea of sticking to this thought of, I am going to deliver something that's going to be valuable to someone else that's younger, that may not have the resources I had to go to the universities that I went to acquire this knowledge. So fundamentally, she knew it may not be perfect, but even if it's not perfect, I'm delivering something that's going to be meaningful to someone else. That was her reframed thought, changed her belief system. Along with that, she was reshaping her identity. She was able to really counter imposter syndrome thinking when it showed up. And it didn't completely go away from her. She was just armed and ready for it when it did show up. All right, so those are the different ways. Those are the different faces of imposter syndrome, and there are others. So I don't want to go into too many of them. Those are some primary ways that I see them show up for my clients during coaching. Do you know how it shows up for you? When my clients come to coaching, I have them take a quiz. So they know, okay, how am I actually experiencing imposter syndrome? Often they're surprised. They may know, like, I have this feeling that I'm faking it, but I certainly didn't know it was impacting my decision making. So the quiz is an important place to start. So I'm going to ask you some questions from my quiz, and I want you to think about which category of imposter syndrome you may be experiencing now. If you're feeling like a fraud, like you're faking it, I'm a fraud, I'm not who I am. These are the questions I want to ask you. Do you often feel that your achievements are not deserved, or that you have fooled others into believing you are more competent than you are? Do you experience persistent self-doubt despite evidence of your abilities and accomplishments? Do you attribute your success to external factors such as luck or help from others rather than your own skills? Are you afraid that others will eventually find out that you are not as capable as you think you are? Do you find yourself overworking as a way to prove your worth or mask your perceived inadequacies? Do you tend to downplay or discount your accomplishments, believing that you are not significant or noteworthy? Do you avoid new challenges or opportunities because you fear failure or being exposed as a fraud? If you said yes to most of those, then your imposter syndrome face is feeling like a fraud. The other face of imposter syndrome is not trusting your decision making. So here are some questions for you. Do you frequently second guess your decisions even after making them? Are you hesitant to make decisions because you fear making the wrong choice? Do you experience a sense of uncertainty or anxiety when faced with decision making? Do you often seek validation or reassurance from others before making decisions? If you said yes, the face of your imposter syndrome is around decision making. The next face is perfectionism. Here are the questions. Do you have a strong desire for flawlessness in your work and become frustrated even when minor imperfections show up? Do you tend to micromanage projects and tasks, struggling to trust others with responsibilities? Is it difficult for you to delegate tasks effectively because you believe no one else can do them to your standards? Do you find yourself procrastinating or delaying tasks out of fear that they won't be done perfectly? If you answer yes to most of those questions, the face of your imposter syndrome is perfectionism. The other face is staying in your comfort zone. Do you avoid pursuing advancement opportunities because you fear you might not succeed? Do you shy away from challenging projects or roles that could stretch your abilities? Are you fearful of trying new hobbies or activities that are outside your comfort zone? Do you avoid social situations because you fear being judged or not fitting in? Do you stick to safe routines, avoiding risks and new experiences? If you said yes to most of those, the face of your imposter syndrome is staying in your comfort zone. And lastly, the face that I'm going to talk about is comparing yourself to others. The questions are, do you frequently compare your progress and success to that of others around you? Do you set unrealistic standards for yourself based on the perceived success of others? Does your tendency to compare yourself to others undermine your confidence and self-esteem? Do you feel that constant comparison stifles your creativity and innovation, making it difficult to pursue your own unique ideas? If you said yes to that, then the face of your imposter syndrome is comparing yourself to others. If you said that's giving you a good understanding of like, how is imposter syndrome showing up for me? Might be one, might be two, it might be multiple faces that you experience. But be on the lookout, because the first step and the most important step with overcoming imposter syndrome is to observe it, to understand how it shows up, what it's connected to. Maybe it's connected to certain situations, maybe people, maybe certain words, certain actions, certain environments. You want to know how it shows up for you. Then the next action you want to take is to observe your thinking. What are you thinking in those situations? You're going to start noticing thought patterns. Maybe you're aware of them, maybe not as deeply as they're showing up. So you want to hear, what am I saying to myself when I experience imposter syndrome? Okay, what do you do with it now? This is the work that really matters when you're experiencing imposter syndrome. The first thing you need to do is to connect with your past achievements. Somewhere along the way, you've become disconnected. There's some cognitive dissonance for you about the successes that you've had, about the achievements that you've acquired. You want to go back and remember them. For my clients, I have them go back to their performance reviews and read them out loud, read them to me. What we're doing is we're integrating that information. People that really are trying to manage imposter syndrome and are challenged with it have a tendency not to be able to integrate the things that are positive about themselves, that they just really either they don't take notice of them or they just don't really want to think about them too deeply for whatever reason. So guess what we do? We think deeply about it. We spend a lot of time looking at them, examining, thinking about the person that was there, them, that made that happen. Because imposter syndrome will tell you it's luck, it's not due to you. We're going to really dig into who you are, how you made it happen, for you to create that identity of this is who I am now, and this is what I've accomplished along the way that's made me who I am now, that's made me the expert, that's made me the excellent actor that I am, the winning athlete that I am. This is me now, and this is what I've achieved. I also want you to know who you are and what you're winning in real time now, who you are now. So I have my clients create a win journal or success journal where they write down every win that they have. Small, medium, large, whatever it is. Every day they're adding something to that win journal. At the end of the day, they're looking at it, they're reviewing it. Why is that happening? This is what's happening for them in their brain. They have to really connect to what's happening really, the reality. Before we get into reframing their thoughts, they need to connect to, here's the truth, here's the evidence, here's what's really happening. So the way to do that is to collect the data every day, look over it every day, think about it every day, and at the end of the week, review the entire week of your wins. You're creating this new connection to who you are, which is going to help you shape this new identity. The second and most powerful thing you can do when you're trying to overcome imposter syndrome is to connect to your strengths, those natural areas that you excel at. They're just organic to you. You naturally do them well. And if you really want clues about what your strengths are, just notice what people come to you for. What do they ask your advice for? What do they lean onto you for? What do they bring projects your way for you to be involved in? It's going to give you the clues to what your core strengths are. If you've ever taken a strengths assessment, pull it out, dust it off. Many of us take those assessments and we tuck them away. We never look at them again. We're not integrating them into the identity of who we are now. This is the work we do in the coaching that I do with my clients with imposter syndrome. You're going to get really comfortable, really cozy with those strengths. You're going to be able to name them, know the domains of them, know the subdomains of them, know how they show up, when they show up, who you're around when they show up. Because you're creating these new neural pathways in your brain that's connecting to, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is how I show up in the world. This is my identity. You're going to have a new identity in this, the identity of who you are right now. And it's shaped from knowing your strengths. So start there. If you've never taken a strengths assessment before, go to my website, my company website. You can see it below. It's at thecoachestable.com. Go to the assessment tab. You're going to take the Hello Inner Genius Strengths Assessment. It's going to tell you what your core strengths are, your developing and emerging strengths as well. You're going to get really intimate with understanding and observing your strengths. Now, when you have all this knowledge, you have your win journal, you now know what your strengths are. What you do then is, now it's time to reframe your thinking. And you're going to reframe your thinking based on data. Not things that you want to be, things that are maybe your brain won't ever believe about you. So I don't want you thinking about unbelievable. Don't create these mantras that don't feel true to you. Your brain will spend a lot of time, it'll go into overdrive to tell you why you are not that person, why you are not those things. So I want you connecting to the truth of who you are, and those are your strengths and from your win journal. So we create then your reframed thoughts of, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, this is the value that I bring, this is why people should listen to me, this is why what I'm saying is important, this is why I need to advocate for myself, this is why when I look across and compare myself, I know I'm a unique individual who has something important to contribute in this moment. You're going to do that. You're going to be able to recreate your thinking with these reframed thoughts. Now you're reshaping your identity. You have now closed that gap to what your brain has been telling you about who you are to who you really are. And that's the work. That's what you do if you really want to overcome imposter syndrome. For my clients, they see tremendous results when they focus on how they're experiencing imposter syndrome, the phases of it, and then when they notice what they do well, what they're winning at, successful at, and then deeply understanding their strengths. Okay, I hope that was helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you. You can always reach out to me at Phyllis at thecoachestable.com and tell me what's going on with your imposter syndrome, what's working for you, what you might need further help with. If you're interested in getting coaching around imposter syndrome, I do coaching that's specifically for imposter syndrome. You can go to my personal website, Phyllis Reagin, REAGIN.com, and go to the imposter syndrome page, and you'll find a way to reach out to me for a 30-minute free meeting to talk about your imposter syndrome and how my coaching program can help you. All right, if you like these kind of talks, please go ahead, if you're watching me on YouTube, like the video, subscribe so you get more of these, real bite-sized but achievable strategies that you can walk away right now and put into use. If you're watching me on other social media channels, go ahead and go over to atthecoachestable.com and join my community. where you are going to not only get videos, but you're going to get articles and emails that support you as you grow and develop in these important areas of confidence and self-esteem and showing up as the leader that you want to be, or the professional, the athlete, or the actor that you want to be. I'm here for you. Thanks for joining me at the